All right, what's up, demons? We made it to the end of May, beginning of June. We got through our book for the month, Lord of the Flies. Thanks to Kat Tischler, our guest of honor here for the month of May, for joining us and reading along with us and having some fun with the audience and bringing some people into the party. Yeah, Kat, what'd you think of the book overall before we dive in?
Well, I mean, if you start with the cover, it's way more disturbing than I remember it being the first time I read it. Definitely left you asking a lot of existential questions. So, but it was good. It's a classic, good to reread and to have that back in my library.
Yeah, I think mine too. I've got this fancy cover. I really liked it when I picked it up, and I bought it in a bookstore down in the Outer Banks, and was happy to find it there. And I remember reading it, I feel like in high school, and it was a very like black and white plain cover. So they've jazzed it up over time. I think hopefully makes it more accessible to some people because I'm a sucker for a cool cover. I don't know about you.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Awesome. I think later on we'll be hopefully joined by our other guest of honor, my wife Aisley. As we'll get into as parents, we're doing the juggling act of a savage boy of our own who won't go to sleep tonight and wants to hang out, and so they're doing a little movie night until somebody falls asleep. We'll see if it's A's or Cal first. So all bets are off.
Cal is just toddlering at a high level. That's all that can be expected.
Very high level, yes. So great. Before we dive in, a couple just reading questions I like to ask everybody, personal questions. You're a pretty avid reader, at least by maybe calculations of other guests I've had, but how many books would you say you usually read in a year?
You know, it's funny. I was actually talking about this morning with Dan, my husband, and if you think about it, like start to finish, full reads, I think he and I are actually both around maybe 300. And I think, Little Blue Truck leads the way as taking that top slot as the most reread book in our household.
Yep. I think I probably got close to 100 reads of Little Blue Truck under my belt as well. Cal knows some of the endings now. We do a little song and tell with that one, but yeah, I think, and it's a good point. I don't know for you. I feel like, so for a long time I didn't read a lot. Last year I made a very concerted effort to start reading a lot more, using my free time to read rather than watching whatever random TV show I find, scrolling on my phone all night, just like trying to be intentional about it, even though right now I am in a rewatch of The Sopranos, which is affecting some of my reading time. But it was like one of those, it's like a lunar cycle or something. Being from New Jersey, there's like a certain period of time that goes by where I feel like I have to rewatch The Sopranos. So doing that again right now. But how do you kind of balance it? I found last year having a baby, it was much easier to find times to read. This year having a toddler, how do you kind of find the time to read or carve out some of that time for yourself?
I feel it too. And I read maybe around 15, 20 books a year in all seriousness. And I actually set a goal for myself this year for 28 books. And what I've been doing more and more is audiobooks. I think every fourth or fifth book I do is actually an audiobook. And there's pros and cons to that. You have to really like the narrator, because that could really affect a read that you're going through. And also, sometimes it helps because you're able to multitask. You're doing stuff around the house or you're driving to pick up your kid and you're able to listen to it, and that's great. But sometimes I feel like my mind wanders. And when my mind wanders and I'm reading a book, I can just be like, all right, let me go back and reread that page. But when your mind wanders and you're listening to a book, you're like, wait, how far back did I stop listening? And then you spend so much time trying to figure out where you stopped that sometimes it's harder. So I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence about audiobooks.
I've never really tried it. I kind of feel the same way. I think because between commuting and other things, or in the car while we're driving down to Delaware or something like that, I listen to a decent amount of podcasts where I feel like that's such a passive thing for me, where it's my brain will turn on and off while I'm listening to it, and I pick up the parts I want, and they're talking about something where I can kind of tune it out, and my brain just kind of wanders. So I feel like that would be the effect for me for audiobooks. I think for one of my guests one month, I'm going to try to do an audiobook as part of the experience because I think other people do it, and I just want to kind of compare and see if I can handle it, step up to the challenge. So we'll see.
Well, I would be curious to hear from Aisley because I think she did the audiobook for this one. I would love to know what the experience was for her.
She did. We'll have to follow up and make sure we get her answer on that. But one of the things you do that I really enjoy is on your Instagram, and everyone should follow Katie Beth 103. I'll put the little lower third on the bottom there. But how do you come up with, you do a nice fun, if you enjoy this book, you'll enjoy this? And I try to think about that sometimes. I don't know if I'd be very good at that. How do you kind of come up or figure out your answers in that sense?
I think it comes with, we all try to find the familiar and the unknown. So when you're reading something, you like to ground it in like okay, what can I relate this to? It's just how we relate to the world around us. And I think there's also like a joy in being able to be like, oh, I read this book. It had an impact on me. It affected me one way or the other. I felt some kind of emotion. And I want to recommend that to you and give that gift to you of being able to read it. And being able to say like, oh, did you like the Hunger Games? And like you instantly be like, okay, I know what this is going to be kind of about. But then I do like a book and a movie, or sometimes it's a movie and a TV show. Sometimes it's just one, like it's not always the easiest to come up with like a perfect match. For example, the book Atmosphere, Taylor Jenkins Reid, I suggested if you liked watching For All Mankind, that you should do that because there's an aspect of For All Mankind that takes place in the 70s, and it's about women in the NASA program, and like that's what Atmosphere is about. But that's just one tiny aspect of the show. Mm-hmm. So like sometimes it's a little bit of a stretch, but I find that people can be like, oh, cool, I kind of understand what I'd be getting into if I pick up this new book.
And I think the Hunger Games was a good example. I'll put you on the spot a little bit here. You've probably already thought of it. And I think I may have seen a post of yours already that did it. But one of the nice things about my book, again, can't speak enough about how much I liked this version of it. There was really good forwards, very good afterwards. There's some interesting stuff. And one of the afterwards was written by a teacher who's like teaching this. And it's like, for further exploration, like what other books or like media would you recommend? So I'm interested in your choice, some of the ones she recommended, and I actually have a pick of mine that I think is pretty good, but she recommended Hunger Games, You, a book called The Chocolate War I wasn't as familiar with, but I guess is a bit of a classic they referenced, Between the World and Me, and then some more temporary ones were Fruitvale Station, which I thought was interesting, the movie, Ryan Coogler, Michael B. Jordan, and then like Stephen King works, and he actually wrote the foreword of this book too, and what influence this book had on him. So I don't know if you've done it yet, but what would be kind of your like pairing for Lord of the Flies?
So it's interesting because a lot of times when I do this, I'm picking up a book that was written in the last, like, call it 5-10 years. So I tend to go back further in time and say, hey, if you read this a while ago, you'll like this now. And so when you pick up a book that was written in the 1950s, you're like, well, I don't know if I can think of something that came out before that. But it's interesting because the ones you're saying, like the show You, Hunger Games, those are more recent. Actually, I think it was like 1 or 2 years out of college, I read a spin-off book that was inspired by Lord of the Flies. It was called Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. And it's the same plot, but instead of a bunch of schoolboys, it's a bunch of beauty queens whose plane crashes on an island. And it's a satire. And it's very satirical. And I think the first time I read it, I was like, kind of bordered on cringe for me. I'm like, this is a little too over the top. Yeah. But I would be interested to revisit it now, maybe with a newfound appreciation for it, and see what it would be like. I think that hit the do not finish list for me the first time around.
Okay. But another chance at it. I like the concept. Obviously, a popular genre in itself, which we'll get to later, of just the stuck on an island survival, how do we deal with this, and I think has given us a lot of very fun types of media. For me, I thought of a good pairing with this book, which I really enjoy, not a book but a TV show. I think White Lotus is a really good one. It's not quite stranded on a deserted island, but in ways there's a lot of people who do feel stranded, and there's this I think why we like the show in comparison to kids, and I think I'll get to it later, of our kids, adults, we never really grow out of these habits, and these ultra rich people who give in to their base emotions, even though they're rich, and some people might hold that to an esteem, aren't overdeveloped any more than any other person, and as that show is to do, always ends up in chaos at the end, as Lord of the Flies did as well. So I think for me that was one I thought, like, there's the island tie-in, but I think when you dig a little deeper, there's more comparisons than you think.
There is like an unsettling overtone to White Lotus that matches what these boys are going through on the islands, where it's just like a little more disturbing than you want it to be in a tropical setting.
Yes. So before we dive into the book itself, a question I've been asking all our guests as a goal of Printed Demons Book Club, breaking down the stigma of particularly boys reading, of reading in general, and I think reading is making quite a comeback right now if you look around, and hopefully it continues to do so, as knowledge is power and it's needed more than ever these days, and just how much is thrown at people from the internet, work, all corners, media, AI, everything. Like, that's the goal, to break down those stigmas and make it cool again. So with you joining this month, what stigma are you looking to break down as part of this book, being part of this book club, or in your life, or just other choices that you're making?
I love what you're doing with this book club because it's breaking down the stereotype of toxic masculinity. I'm going to say that again and not trip over it.
Sure.
I love what you're doing with this book club because what you're doing is breaking down the stereotype of toxic masculinity. And, you know, someone who's raising a little boy, I want him to understand that you can be the best human, person, man, whatever you want to are, and it doesn't have to be like what this idea of being a man has been in the past. So kudos, thank you, and hope that we keep being able to do that for the next generation.
Of course. Thank you for joining. And speaking of some toxic masculinity, some boys behaving as they're not supposed to, let's dive into Lord of the Flies. A book many of us read when we were younger, a book that has spawned a mini-series on Netflix. I've watched the first episode. I need to finish it. I kind of wanted to finish the book and keep that separate. I did the same thing when I did Project Hail Mary. I like to keep the book separate, and then we'll get to either the movie or the mini-series, but did watch the first episode and like the vibe of it so far. But reading the book, Ralph and Piggy are the first two characters that we meet and become and establish themselves as the really essential part of the story throughout, and a lot of the story that we see, and we see a lot of the story through their eyes. They find the conch shell, and Ralph blows it to set up the first gathering of all the people on the island and all the boys. We learn quickly that these are boys of privilege. Ralph talks about his dad being like a Navy commander, and all of the boys were in private school, and obviously flying in the 1950s, early 60s, whenever I believe this book was set. So boys of means, which I think is helpful context as we kind of, not necessarily like blaming that on any behavior, but like thinking of these kids of having the best of the best education in Britain and having the best upbringing probably of 99% of boys that age. And then we meet Jack Meridew, and the choir emerge in black cloaks. And I was wondering, is this book some of the best propaganda for the masculine choir theater kid?
Yeah, like is this some sort of like, I don't even know, because you want your kids to join the theater and be a theater kid, because nowadays that means something so different.
Right. And
like they were very, you know, like strict, regimented, all in line. Like who after a plane crash is like, wait guys, let's line up? Like who does that?
Let's line up for the choir, and we're not getting in song, but we're gonna tell you how we're the hunters and ready to kill. So as we get to that, Piggy tells Ralph at the start of this assembly of all them that he doesn't want to be called Piggy anymore. We never learn his real name, but because Ralph immediately introduces him as Piggy against his wishes, and I think the first real show of flaw in Ralph's leadership style of immediately selling out his right-hand man, which I think was a tough start to his leadership. But he does win the election over Jack, takes control of the power early, has kind of stepped into it, and Ralph, Jack, and Simon immediately climb the mountain to kind of confirm that they're on an island, where they are. And one of the first moments of real foreshadowing, the boys stumble across a pig in the brush that Jack hesitates and is unable to kill, and kind of blames the others for not being able to, corner the pig correctly. But really it was just, these are boys, these are young boys, and not quite capable yet. They've only been there a little while, of killing. And again,
I wouldn't know how to kill a pig if I came in contact with it. I don't expect an
No.
11-year-old to know how to do it.
No, I don't know if for me, it's like, you ever seen the movie Forgetting Sarah Marshall, where he's on the resort and they're like, come to the pig roast with us. And they make him, and he's just like weeping and sobbing. And I'm like, that would be me. Like, you're going to make me kill the pig. Like, I'm just in the corner weeping and sobbing. Like, no, you do it. Like, I don't want to know. I'll have some bacon, but don't tell me how it gets there. Like, I don't want to know. It's the cognitive dissonance of all that. So, I mean, we meet them all early on. And I think, for me reading it this time, there's like you read any book, who do you most relate to within the book? And I think for me that probably changed. I don't quite remember reading, like when I read it as a kid, who I related to was probably, I feel like Ralph, but now reading it as an adult, I'm like, I relate to Piggy. Like I'm the
100% Piggy. I'm like,
right.
Let's make a list of who's on this island. Let's draw a map. Let's make a shelter. Like, let's build a fire. He's the one who wants to get organized. And that's 100%. I'd be like, color-coded binder. Let's figure out what's going on here.
And I think speaks to probably like workplace experience, life experience of either being that person or knowing the person or seeing it happen, where like you're doing a project and there's somebody who's like, actually we should think about all these things and like this is where we should be focused, and then like it just goes in a completely different direction because somebody just says, no, I want it this way and we're going to do this and this is my style. So hearts out to all the piggies out there, and I think he really takes the emotional toll of this book for me as we get through it.
So what do you think Piggy's real name is?
It's a good question. So he's British. That's a
Gotta
factor.
be something British, right?
Right.
I was thinking about that this time around.
Yeah.
And I want it to be something like Sebastian, or like, I don't know.
Yeah. Some like
I Googled
suave
most
quality to it. Yeah.
I Googled most popular boy name in 1954, and it was John, and I was like, well, that's just not exciting. So.
Right. I'm sure we had a couple Johns on there. Yeah, I don't know. I think maybe like British too. Yeah, I mean it'd probably be something pretty basic like a John or a Matthew for that age, but I like a Sebastian. I like maybe like a
Got a little flair to it.
Yeah, I was thinking too maybe like a Colin or a I don't know.
like Colin.
Yeah. So I think kind of a
I had trouble with the names in this one. I told you that it was maybe about halfway through when I realized that Sam Nerrick wasn't the old-fashioned way of saying Sam.
Right.
I was like, it's an old book, like Samuel, Sam Nerrick. I'm like, oh, it's Sam and Eric. It's the two twins. So
I think the British thing too will trip you up because, who knows how some of their conventions are formed. They're doing OUs for color and other things, like who knows,
I was also really kind of hoping that it wasn't Ralph. It was like Rafe, like as in like Rafe Fiennes.
Right.
And so when I was reading it, because I hadn't watched the series yet, I was like, I'm just going to keep calling him Rafe this entire time.
All right, for fun, I found the top 10 names in England and Wales in 1954.
Okay.
Number 1, David. Number 2, John. Number 3, Stephen. Number 4, Michael. Number 5, Peter. Number 6, Robert. Number 7, Paul. 8, Alan. 9, Christopher. 10, Richard. So
I could see him as either a Davy or a Robbie.
I like those two. I immediately just thought at 10, like, it would almost be a cruel joke if it was Richard. No offense to any Richards out there. We have some Richards in our life. But if, like, he was Piggy, but then he was like, actually, my real name is, like, Dickie, that would be tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't help his cause. So, all right. So poor Piggy, emotional heart of the story. He's kind of leading the way, but the boys start to go the other way. They're overly excited. The thought of no adults around, thinking of their situation as an adventure. And we get to the smallest boy, who appears around 6 years old, talks about the beasties that he's seen, starts this red scare, this panic on the island, and we see him for a bit, and then we never really see him again.
And no one cares.
No one
like,
cares.
This
No one
6-year-old
seems
just
to-
disappears.
I don't know, like any theories of like what happened to this boy or what his role was
Well,
to play
before I realized that the beast was more metaphorical, I was like, okay, there's an actual beast on this island, and I thought it was like giant anaconda type of snake just came and swallowed the 6-year-old whole. That was where my first thought went.
I mean, it could have happened. We don't know.
It could have.
I also think that I have a theory that maybe he was imagined by our narrator here of Ralph, like just that he's inherently manifesting all of the fears of the boys, and then we eventually get into them all talking about different beasts that they talk about. I think that like it may have been somewhat imagined by Ralph within what he was doing, and something else led to the conversation. So I actually, because they never talk about him again, never see him again, I kind of think he was almost like an apparition of like he was the ghost of island past or something that showed up and was like, beasties, everybody be scared, and everybody was scared. So I don't know.
Whew, I like it.
So then we get the boys are able to start a fire with Piggy's glasses. I could never do the stick thing myself. I wasn't a Boy Scout, so glasses I think seemed like maybe the best option. Although that's one of those two where I don't even know if that would work. I mean, I guess, but I don't know.
I've never put it to the test. So.
I've never tried it. Maybe this. I don't want to start a real fire. Too scared. So a quote that I spotted early on, again, another foreshadowing, we've got to have rules and obey them. After all, we're not savages, we're English, and the English are best at everything. And that is a quote from Jack, obviously, the most unsavage of them all.
Jack.
I thought, an interesting quote there, and obviously very, very pro-British to what we had. And one thing I should mention, which was I think mentioned in the book around this time, the boys are here because of an atomic bomb being dropped that's just kind of grazed over at the beginning of the story and gives context to why they were on a plane, how it ended up crashing there, and I think gives a lot of context, like for me, of like evaluating their behavior throughout the book. And it's like, well, they were just in the middle of like an atomic war, an atomic bomb going off, like that would, and now they're with no adults, like just the implications of all that are like, there's parts of me that are like, I can't believe they lasted as long as they did without, diving into some of the darker stuff. So
pure chaos.
So with that said, and Jack saying the English are the best at everything, I was wondering, what are the English actually the best at?
I think that the English are the best at naming things. So I studied abroad, and I was studying writing, and I got to class one day and we're talking about the punctuation of, we're critiquing each other's work. And did you know that they call apostrophes sky commas? And I was like, is that not the most brilliant thing ever?
It's a much better name.
And then you go from like that to the other end of the spectrum, where they're also the ones that ran that competition for naming that boat or submarine or whatever it was. Yep. They left it up to the people,
Boating
and the people chose.
Yeah.
Exactly. Is that not the best name for a boat?
This is a really good point. They are very good at naming things, I think.
Yeah. And like they also have the best phrases, like being knackered or all tuckered out, or just
the loo instead of the bathroom. Yeah, I like the naming.
Water
That's a really
closet.
good. Yes. That's a really good call. I like the naming. For me, the one I thought of was, I feel like they're the best at narrating. Any documentary or movie that has a British narrator, to me, obviously, immediately has more credibility, and I am having a much better time listening to it. There's something about, like, the English accent drawl that just feels more official, feels like I should be listening, like it feels very official. And maybe that's just hardwired for us Americans, that they used to rule over us and we're the kings and stuff. So maybe that's deeper.
Well, first of all, do yourself a favor and go listen to Benedict Cumberbatch try to say the word penguin when he was narrating. It's hilarious, and it
Yes.
sort of descends into chaos. There's a whole interview on Graham Norton. Please watch it. And then also, I agree with you, because like whenever I see a little kid, like age 4 or 5, who's speaking with a British accent, I'm like, wow, that kid is so brilliant. And I'm
So
like,
smart.
why? Like, it's just a child.
Right.
But I'm like, listen to them.
Right. They know so much.
I know so much for being so little.
So speaking about little British boys knowing so much, Piggy tries to reason with the boys we need to build a shelter, we need to focus on the important things, but the boys are too busy playing with fire, as boys are wont to do. And they immediately set ablaze a part of the island, and after that there's complete chaos, and they realize one of their goals before was we needed to count all the boys and understand who was all here, especially maybe the one who
Whoops.
stepped forward and said there's a beastie on the island, is now never seen again. We blew that opportunity. So the fire takes over, we're moving past. Ralph is really struggling to get the huts built. He's kind of failing in his first mission as leader, whereas Jack is also failing at this point of being able to hunt any pigs, and it just kind of ends up the boys devolve into leisure time. It's time to just have some fun. At the same time, having fun when they can, but getting frightened when it gets dark, as little boys do. And the tasks aren't going well. Simon, who we really get to expose to for the first time, who is really seems to be probably the most innocent soul of any of the boys, and beats to his own drum in terms of going off here, finding areas in the brush, hiding, separating himself. And I sympathize with that as well, because I always need just like a little time to myself and to get away from some of the chaos sometimes and just find a little area to decompress. So what did you think of Simon's kind of off adventures on his own there?
I was also curious about his condition, because he was fainting a lot, and I'm like, is he like epileptic or something? Like, what's causing? Is he just super dehydrated? But it sounded like he had these fainting spells back before they were even on the island from the other, theater choir boys. So yeah, I mean, poor Simon. They didn't have to do him like that. Like, poor kid.
Yeah.
We're talking about losing kids. Spoiler alert. Simon.
That one gets lost. So the boys start painting their faces, they're changing their appearance, losing their identity. The boys end up letting the fire go out in the real first turmoil of the group. They see a ship in the distance. They're like, I hope they see the smoke that we worked so hard to do, and that was our big project, and it's already failed. It's not going out, and that really leads to a lot of the chaos starting. Right after that, Jack and the hunters return with their first pig, chanting, kill the pig, cut her throat, spill her blood, which is
Disturbing?
crazy. Yes, for 11-year-olds, if I can't even imagine. That might.
Yeah.
We'll get to it later, talking about some of the most terrifying things we've ever seen. I think if I saw a group of 11-year-olds doing that, I would be absolutely terrified.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Which I may have told this story before, but it's I always say one of the scariest things to me is New York City teenagers living in New York. I find it terrifying. Just people who have a crazy amount of world experience by the time they're 15 years old. One of that stems from one time we were in the park, nice day like this, Aisley and I having a glass of wine, a little snack, hanging out in the park. There's 100 kids in the park, all high schoolers, teenagers, drinking a little bit, smoking pot, acting crazy, having fun in the park at 16 years old. And it's okay. And then all of a sudden, half of them come from over here and half of them come over here. And two of them just start fighting in the middle. And I remember going to another couple who was near us who we didn't know. We were just are we supposed to do something about this and break this up? And we are just no, let's not get involved. It's New York. And then one of those little park cop cars rolled onto the grass and was and just they all scattered. They all ran in different directions. But for a minute there, I was like, we're in the middle of like a Sharks versus the Jets turf war, and like, am I gonna have to stop these kids from like killing each other? But
is this gonna be Cal in 14 years, 12 years?
I mean, I don't, I don't know.
He's gonna be one of those kids you're terrified of.
I know.
Growing up in the city.
I'm already terrified of him, though. He's already terrifying. He's lovely, but as we'll get to, boys can be terrifying because he is exploring ways to do body slams and try to. It's always a constant struggle of either trying to see ways he could hurt us, not intentionally, or hurt himself, again, not intentionally, but we're always on the edge of that. Recently I was watching him and he was getting very mad because all he wanted to do was bring his bike and ride it on the couch. And I was like, we don't do bikes on the couch, and that made him very upset that we couldn't do bikes on the couch.
So we go back and forth between the phrase Agent of Chaos and just Chaos Demon, whichever comes out first is how we describe our sweet little savage ourselves.
Yep. So, other sweet little savages, Jack ends up punching Piggy, breaks one of his glasses during their argument, which is bad news for our boy Piggy. He can't see without his glasses. Now he's down to one lens, and I hope he doesn't have astigmatism and can't see out of the other eye.
It's what I have. It's
right,
terrible.
Same. So, I'm imagining myself like my one eye that's way worse. If I was to lose that one, like we're out. I don't know. So, Ralph calls an assembly to try to like pull this all together, but it really ends up backfiring on him. He admits to himself that Piggy has the brains to handle things, but not the physique, which rough for our boy Piggy. It's just we're just piling on nonstop. The boys talk about fear and the beast that lurks on the island, whether it's real or imagined. And we learn quickly that Jack is really fanning the flames of the beast. He is seeing it as more beneficial for him that a beast exists. He's realizing if these boys are scared, the hunters have the power, and Jack is one to prey on those fears immediately, and the real dissension is growing between the group, between Jack and Ralph. So within that, as this dissension grows, it made me think, what role would you kind of have on the island, and where do you think you would end up finding yourself here?
I would definitely be like the shore excursion manager, blame it on the day job, but I would come up with all like the non-murdery games that we would play and the ways we would entertain each other so that we could still have fun. They wanted to have fun, but not fucking kill each other. So that would be probably my main focus.
I think that's a top goal, is just let's not kill each other. Yeah, I think I said it before. I think I relate to Simon. I would just kind of be the one who'd be like, all right, I'm down to hang for a while. But then, like, when you guys start doing the crazy stuff, like, and again, foreshadowing it doesn't work out for Simon, so it might not work out for me. But I'd just be like, you know what, I'm going to go. I need 20. I'm just going to go lay down and, like, stare at the stars. And, like, I just need a minute, so.
Be one with wilderness. Go be introverted.
Yeah, I just like sometimes you just need some time. It's exhausting hanging out with all these guys who are trying to kill each other all the time.
Yeah,
so,
or chanting very upsetting things.
Yeah, right. So shortly after this, the boys are diving into chaos. We're realizing the world around them is filled with chaos as a fighter pilot that was shot down falls onto the island, ends up on the top of it. Sam and Eric, two kids.
Sam and Eric.
Right. Believe they've seen the beast as this thing kind of falls to the ground, and the boys decide they need to go looking for it, and make a small party to go see what's going on the island. They continue looking for a beast. They come across a boar, and a mini hunt kind of breaks out. Ralph kind of finds his hunting passion here, and is kind of digging the thrill of it, which I think speaks to our inner demons, our angel on our shoulder, our devil on our shoulder, and we see more and more the devil's winning out here for everyone. So it gets a bit scary, and the boys eventually find the pilot, but at the end of the day, we get reminded at times they're still little boys. They run off in fear before really checking him out. They kind of see the head bob and some, the parachute that looks like wings, and they're like, oh, damn, we're in for it now. The group continues to fracture with more of them heading to the hunters as the fear really starts to dive in. Jax makes himself chief of the new tribe. Simon sneaks off on his own to avoid the chaos, as he loves to do, as I love to do. And he sees the Lord of the Flies, a discarded pig head that speaks to him and is talking and is just absolutely terrifying to imagine. And it says, fancy thinking the beast was something you could hunt and kill. I'll give it to William Golding. Some really chilling lines that he's able to put together of just frightening stuff with the cut its throat, kill the pig, drink its blood, that stuff, crazy. Fancy thinking the beast was something you can hunt and kill was chilling to me to read it. I don't know about you, but goosebumps on my arm for that one.
Well, it goes back to like Simon must be like super dehydrated or something that he sees this pig head surrounded by flies and it's talking to him. Like that's just haunting. That is nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you did the meme. Who is that in the meme when you like hear the movie title?
Leo.
Leonardo DiCaprio. The Leonardo DiCaprio meme when he's like, "Oh, Lord of the Flies, there it is."
Yeah. I love a good when you get the title of the book in there. Like, yes, that's always like, oh, that's why we call it that.
Yeah, but there's some great lines in here that are like that. I am a nerd and underlined a lot of them. Question, when you're reading books, do you ever underline and or dog ear pages or break your spine?
So sometimes my book just gets broken from wear and tear. I do a lot of reading on the train. I travel with it a lot. So like this one's actually stayed in really great shape. I did most of this reading on vacation, so I think that helped, and on flights when I was traveling for work. So that helped, but I guess as a real, I don't know, this millennial, maybe Gen Z, I take phone notes throughout as I'm reading my book. So
I did that too.
I keep this on the side. I try to kind of keep the book clean because I think it's just maybe a little OCD of mine that I keep it nice and neat. And I keep the phone open to just like jot something down. I have a notebook too that sometimes I use instead, but I find the phone, like especially like I was reading it while I was flying, so just keeping that open on the tray table and like, ooh, what do I want to call out when we talk?
I did the same thing. I took notes on my phone. I normally don't underline a book, but like when it's for class, and that's sort of how I was treating this, I will write in the book and like I'll write in the margins, but I never dog ear a page, and I try as hard as I can never to break a spine. Those are...
Yes. That's bad.
Those are
bad
my
luck.
rules.
Yes. We can dive into it quick. I think it's a bit of low-hanging fruit, but talking about, what leader does Ralph remind you of? And what leader does Jack remind you of? Ralph, to me... he's almost like it's just so easy to draw parallels. And anytime you read a book, I think you're like probably reading this book 20 years ago, there would have been obvious like answers to the same question, but now it's like, to me, it's like almost so obvious. It's like Ralph almost reminds me of like some of these like I listen to a podcast, they call them My Democrats, where it's just like there's like some good intentions, but it's like you need to do more. You need to show me more here. I need more out of you right now. Like the moment is calling for more. There's times where I like see it in you that I know you can do it, but then like the moment itself comes and it's like, oh no, you're more into the hunting like that. You actually like that a little bit more. You relate to that a little bit more rather than like maybe we should build some cool stuff and like give some people some stuff that they need, and then maybe that'll make them happier. So that was a bit to me. For Jack, I mean, it's obvious. We talked offline before this about this before, but it's like we have a 12-year-old boy might be generous as a president, so like that is like the obvious one. But I talked about this in my media reactions to the book, where it's so obvious what his political skill is. I even hate saying his name because even like when you say it on social clips, like it deflates. You
don't have to. We all know who you're talking about.
Right. It's it's the same thing talking about the Beast, the Lord of the Flies. You don't need to say it. We all know.
Yeah.
But it's like he's so good in a bad way at othering and making people fear and preying on that fear, and literally an entire campaign of just, here are the things that you should fear, and that's why I should be in charge, because I'm the only one who can protect you from the stuff that you fear, when really
that I've made up.
That I am the one who've organized this fear. So, and I think we see in this book as like, it's something to deal with. It's like, how innate is that sense of like, when I'm backed into a corner, I need to find something else to back into a corner. And I don't think that's quite human nature, but it is mob mentality. And when you let someone like Jack or our very sleepy, senile infant president be in charge as well, that's some of the results that you end up with, right?
Yes. Yes, period. Like, yes, period. Agree with everything that you just said.
So there is our political commentary, and obviously Lord of the Flies is political commentary in itself. It's so much. That was my other media reaction. So much of what it is, I think, reveals like, yes, these are kids, but we don't change. We like, our base instincts stay the same throughout our lives and can be manipulated or fall into those traps. And I view it now, and I think I viewed it as the time as a kid, and I think that's why it's read so much in schools. And now reading it now as a parent is a different experience, but it serves as a warning, right? It's like, if you let this stuff win out, this is what's going to happen. So it's like, how do we think about listening to the piggies in our life, or, you know, doing more of that'll get us to the result that we want. So
yeah, and like I said, it leaves you with those existential questions of, what would I have done if I were in this situation? If I were a kid with a bunch of other kids? What would I have done if I were an adult with a bunch of other adults? Would the outcome have been any different? I think the point that this book is making is it wouldn't have, because kids are supposed to be the most, you know, best versions of adults. They're the pure, they're the innocent, they're the untainted ones, and look what happened. So I think it's just showing inherently what happens when a body is left ungoverned. It you know, it's not great.
Yeah. No, it's not. And I think yes, and I think, again, I'll get to it, what was the most maddening part of this book to me. But I think reminds us of, like, yes, as bad as it is here, it's also an atomic war going on outside this world. Like, the adults aren't doing any better, and actually way worse on a larger scale. So, like, it's a reminder, I think, hanging over this book, like, it doesn't get better. If anything, it gets worse. We're nearing the end of the book here. Stuff's starting to get real for the boys. And Simon travels to find the beast, goes off on his own, as he likes to do, and realizes it's just a parachuter who died, and goes to tell the others. As Ralph is turned away trying to regain control after the feast, as these boys have killed the pig and go into town, to me it was like the movie Heavyweights, when they finally get that big feast for themselves at camp. Was what it reminded me of, but much darker. Simon stumbles out of the woods and straight into the boys as they're in this frenzy of like a football tackle game that they're doing, mock warfare, and doesn't go well. The boys are in a frenzy, painted faces, blood dripping down from eating the meat, and they attack Simon, claw at him, and it's almost like unclear at first, but you realize quickly that they have killed Simon.
Just literally ripped him to shreds. And like this started with Roger. Roger was the gateway captor that led to literally murdering with their bare hands Simon. They're like, oh, we were just playing. And like, Roger was terrified. And then he became one of the boys who then murdered Simon. So that sucks.
It sucks. He sucks. That sucked. And then immediately after, the parachuter, wind catches in his parachute, comes flying off the mountain and flies into the sea. So these boys have just, some of the little boys too, have just witnessed a murder, and then what they believe is the beast that flies over them and flies into the sea. How freaking terrifying. And it made me think, like, I couldn't even imagine seeing that as like a 10-year-old. So asking you, what was the scariest thing you remember seeing as a kid, and would it come anywhere close to that?
And like I can't remember like anything specifically, but what it did make me think of was that scene from Home Alone where Kevin McAllister is terrified of the
Yes.
furnace in his basement.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I definitely had moments of that with my
Yeah.
own basement, or like at my grandparents' house, going in their
Yeah.
basement. Like that's a whole other realm that you're entering into.
Yes.
So I don't know if it's anything like that specific I remember, but I had an abundance of imagination as a kid. I was
Yeah.
making up monsters everywhere.
Totally. For me, it was a lot of like the first time, like when I started to like it was probably around that age, and would like watch some like horror movies or horror shows. I don't remember like Tales from the Crypt with that scary
yeah.
skeleton thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'd like be late at night, and then I'd like go down in the basement, and I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? Like I just need to come down here and grab the movie that I want to watch, but like like too terrified. So that was one. Michael Myers was another one, like the first time seeing the Halloween movies and just like imagining him creeping from around every corner that was around. Terrifying stuff. So yeah, that was hard for me to shake. So Ralph and Piggy begin to realize what happened after this frenzy, and you can kind of like relate to this. There's probably been a moment in our lives where, not to this level, I'm happy to admit, haven't been witness.
Did
to
you
a murder.
accidentally murder someone, Brad, and forget to tell me?
No, I don't think
Okay,
so.
cool.
Yeah, no, not that I can recall, or at least I plead the fifth. But anyway, you see them try to like rationalize what happened and like come up, like they're like, no, he didn't actually die. Wait, he did die, but we didn't do it on purpose. Like that was an accident. We're not going to talk about it anymore. Like it's just so like, you run the whole. It was like the 12 steps of grief, like fast tracked all in one part there, right? And these two young boys trying to process it is like, again, terrifying. So Jack immediately gets ready for another hunt because like we need more blood, we need more pig. Like what else?
Clearly, don't have enough yet.
We need
Like
to get
at
out
some
there.
point, they're gonna run out of pigs on the island. And the other thing that really annoyed me is that Jack's like hunt, 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 and Ralph, my boy Rafe, is like fire. We need fire.
Yeah.
But the point is like once you hunt the pig, you gotta have a fire in order to cook it. So Jack
Right.
also needs the fire. So I'm like, Jack, where is your head at? Like you also need the fire, man. So I don't know.
One track mind. You just what's ever right in front of you. But I think it's not going well. It's getting worse and worse. Again, I also like your conservationist argument of we're going to run out of pigs at some point. That's very solid.
There's not that many pigs on the island.
It's not that big of an island, as we see throughout. They're able to run across the entire thing.
And they seem to be hunting at a decent clip. It's like a pig a day at this point. So
Right. Obviously, Jack's not one for long range planning, and we've dissected his leadership style.
they burned all the fruit already. Then they set the island ablaze. So
Right. So he admits they didn't kill the beast the night before. So again, breaking down this myth, we need the beast. The beast is out there. And as these boys go to bed, once again terrified, his group ends up ambushing Ralph and Piggy's group. The Huts go in there and they steal Piggy's glasses to make fire. So again, to your point, they're short-sighted, but they just go in there and take whatever they want. Take the pigs, take the fire, until eventually they're going to run out of it. Because also, like, I'm also kind of shocked the glasses lasted this long to this point anyway. Like, kind of an upset there that they just made it this far. So, with that, now we'll save that for later in case A's able to join. So we'll keep going. So, end of the book we're getting to here. Ralph, Piggy, Sam, and Eric confront the hunters looking for Piggy's glasses and try to restore order. One last chance at this. We're going to give it a shot, try and bring it together. And it just ends up Ralph and Jack engaging in this climactic battle, as any good book about some kids on a deserted island comes to. We have this big battle between them. Piggy steps in, hoping to talk some sense into everyone, and he's met with a fate that seems as a warning throughout the book. Again, our poor guy just can't can't break through, and he is hit by a falling rock and falls into the sea and dies as well, unfortunately. And that was a tough part of the book for me, that now we've lost Piggy. And I was almost trying to brace myself for it, because again, I read it as a younger kid, but like, and remembered some of the bigger plot points, but I was like, it was like kind of in the back of my head, I was like, does one, like, because obviously I remember this Simon like killing, but then I was like, I think there's one more, but I don't remember quite who it is. And of course it was our guy Piggy, and that was a bit of a bummer when I got to it.
R.I.P. Sebastian, Davey,
Sebastian,
Robbie.
yeah. R.I.P. to our boy Piggy. So Jack runs off, Ralph runs off into hiding, and is truly alone as Sam and Eric are taken captive. He's hiding out in the brush. Eventually Sam and Eric stumble on him, kind of give him the lowdown on what the plan is of the rest of the boys and what they're trying to do, trying to let him get away. But we realize that he's in for it. Roger has become more and more sadistic. He's got a stick with 2 points on it that he has prepped for him that they let him know about, which, again, completely terrifying.
Tables have turned, Roger. You've been on the other end of that stick. What are you doing, man?
And again, such a good metaphor for as adults. So many of these like most sadistic leaders, some of the people running this country right now are some of the biggest losers. And it's like, all right, one time you were on the other side of the stick, and sometimes that leads people to just want to point the stick back at somebody else, which is
cycle of abuse continues.
The cycle of abuse continues. And unfortunately, Ralph is smoked out of hiding, and now we've really turned up the fire. The entire island is ablaze. Trees are popping. We're running for it. All the boys are running. There's not much island left at this point. He runs off to one end of it. Ralph is smoked out of hiding, and he's running for his life. And eventually, as he finally reaches the end of the island, the boys are closing in on him. What does he stumble upon but a naval officer who's ashore just in time, despite the 2 previous deaths, to rescue the boys, because obviously now we finally had that fire that everybody could see, this giant blaze, where the British Navy makes their way onto the island just in time. The boys drop their arms, and one of the last lines of the book, which is the one that makes me the maddest of all, I should have thought a pack of British boys would have been able to put up a better show than that. And come on, man, you're in the middle of an atomic war. The world's gone to shit.
Yeah, speak for yourself.
Exactly, like a little bit of self-awareness. I talked about this in my immediate reactions. I think this is, to me, it made me mad at the British. This book made me mad at the British. I know we got into our similarities. I'm not saying we're much better in a lot of ways, but it's like they're kind of arrogant about the whole thing. I found this same thing like a commentary as well on like colonialism, where these boys come onto this island uninhabited, very like, fresh resources and untainted resources, and what do? They set the whole goddamn thing afire. They burn the whole thing down. They ruin the entire thing. They almost kill each other, which is like, how many times did that happen in history where the British invaded some country, stole all of its resources, burned the thing to the ground, killed each other over it, and then like we're like, you know what, we'll get out of here, we're done with it. So I don't know, man, you're gonna have to win me back with your narration and your naming things, because right now the British are on my list.
Well, what do you think would have happened if that naval officer wasn't there? Like, it's inevitable, right? They would have killed Ralph.
Yeah, Ralph.
And then they don't have a real leader anymore, anyone to try and help them get saved. And so, like, they all would have died, right? Like, they wouldn't have been able, I mean, yes, the fire caught the naval officer's eye, but that would have gone out. Yeah. And then that's it. That's all she wrote.
Yep. Short-sighted. I think, it's like trying to think. They burned all the fruit. The pigs are dying in that fire. Nothing for you to eat, boys. Except, I don't
Cannibalism?
know. Right. I was like thinking of some other survival stories, and I didn't want to get that dark, but thought popped into my head, so you got to share it. So scary stuff, but that brings us to the end of it. yeah, just hits you hard at the end, but again, it's like this is the life we lead, right? so yeah, so end of the book. One of the questions I wanted to ask, and I think you were hinted at in our announcement video, but what reality TV show does Lord of the Flies remind you of? Did the boys' behavior remind you of any of your favorites that come to mind?
I mean, I think there's like the obvious correlations, like to like a Survivor type
Sure.
of show.
Yep.
But, you know, I was thinking about this a little bit and I actually did some research and they actually made a reality television show about this. Like in 2007, which was not that long ago, someone at
No.
CBS is like, oh, I have a great idea. Why don't we take 40 kids and drop them in a deserted town in New Mexico? See what happens. What do you think happened, Brad?
Is this serious?
Lasted, yes, this is serious. It lasted one season, I think like 13 episodes.
Yeah.
Did not go well. Then,
No.
2 years later, the British are like, no, we have a great idea.
Let's try
It's
it.
the same idea, but this time, let's separate them out. Let's put the boys over here and the girls over there. And the same result. Like, it did not go well. Although, I will say, wait, I wrote it down because I thought it was so funny. The boys' house quickly descended into chaos. The boys struggled to feed themselves properly, trashed the house, split into rival factions, and engaged in escalating pranks that led to aggressive arguments. Sound familiar?
Yes.
The girls' house established a highly organized, functioning community. The girls pooled their resources, delegated cooking and cleaning duties via a chores list, and organized entertainment like fashion shows. So, like, I'm just gonna say it. Who run the world? Girls.
Girls. Yeah. Come on, printed demons. Let's try and improve that, but it's so right. Like we can't help ourselves. And
So those shows were, go back and look, it was Kid Nation
Yeah, I
in
looked them up.
2007,
Yep.
and then Boys and Girls Alone in 2009. Like, what are we doing?
I'm just trying to think of like also a simpler era of TV, right? But like I'm just trying to think of like who's signing the waiver to have their kids on Kid Nation, an abandoned Bonanza City ghost town. Like what?
I don't know. I read that. I'm like, this can't be real. Like, I did more research to make sure my sources were legit for this. I'm like, there's no way this is real. Like, this is AI slap. Someone made this up. Like, this is not
Right.
real.
Right. This is like it's almost like a Saturday Night Live sketch of like look, we
Right.
40 kids. Yeah, crazy. That's wild. I might have to watch an episode of that. Just
Right? Like, I'm like morbidly curious about
Right.
these shows now.
I know. Wow. Yeah, I was trying to think of one that I would really compare it to. I mean, again, there's some of the obvious ones and like stuff that like, you know, Survivor, Big Brother, all that type of stuff. You know, but for me as a Jersey boy, you know, this was the only one I ever watched, but The Real Housewives of New Jersey, or, you know, like just, you know, the family's getting into cliques. We're fighting each other. We're flipping tables. We're battling for power. You know, it's all about status, protecting ourselves, and making something happen. So, as you know, as we get older, it doesn't change. We're just going to bring the chaos no matter what. So, you know,
It made me think of, oh shoot, I'm going to forget the name of the movie. Oh, it made me think of the movie Camp Nowhere. And I don't know if you've ever seen like those flip trailers. My light. Sorry. Stand by.
oh, Camp Nowhere. That's the Christopher Lloyd one. Yep.
So those trailers where they take like The Shining and they recut it to be a rom-com.
Yes.
Well, like do the opposite. Take Camp Nowhere and recut it to be a horror film, and I feel like that's Lord of the Flies.
Yeah. I like that. Yes. Yeah, that's a good one from being a kid. And yeah, I think like Heavyweights is another one like that where the
Yeah.
boys take over and take control of their summer camp and take everything back. So yeah, there's a lot of parallels, and just, you know, as we've covered, we don't get better. We fall back into the same traps, and when those cameras start rolling, it almost brings out something that you feel as like a, your base instincts. So speaking of, just base instincts and what we dealt with throughout this book, I got another fun game for us. I'm excited about this one. It's called Fair Boy or Fuck Boy, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. At the beginning of the book, it stuck out to me. Ralph is described as a fair boy, and I think a lot of that had to do with his complexion and the way he looked, but I think was intentional too, of like, we're supposed to think of Ralph as the fair boy. So, would he be, as we explore through the book, is he really a fair boy? Is he an F boy? So we'll go through it and see what you think. So I'm going to give you some names. You tell me whether you think fair boy or fuck boy. Simple game.
I'm nervous. What if I don't know who these people are? Am I allowed to Google them?
Yeah, you can Google them, but I think based on the list I have, I think you'll know everybody. So
you have you have high hopes for me. Here we go.
I have high hopes. So we'll start with some of the characters of the book.
Okay.
Ralph, is he actually a fair boy, or is he a fuck boy?
I'm going to say he's a fair boy. I think that he struggled with it, but in the end, he still was fighting for what was right. And
also, let's cut him some slack. He was like 12, so he was trying his best. And I feel like he had a lot of the insight. Like he saw, a lot of what was happening there. But I think he just had his limitations that he needed to lean on. He needed to lean on Piggy a little bit more. And as we bring him up, this is an easy answer. Piggy. Fair boy.
Oh, fair boy. Piggy, the fairest of them all.
The fairest of them all, our guy Piggy. Next, Jack. Fair boy or
F boy. He is gaslighting. He is
Yeah. It's tough to call a 12-year-old a fuckboy, but
but I'm gonna. So.
Right. So, sorry, Jack. You didn't.
Sorry,
you didn't
Jack. Not sorry.
Here's a guy who I think has dealt with it on both ends of the spectrums lately, but Timothy Chalamet, fair boy.
Oh, all right. Well, his recent scandal of just dissing on opera and ballet. I don't know. I'm gonna go F boy.
Yeah.
Unpopular opinion, controversial maybe, but I don't know.
I think he'd be an interesting one to me if you polled everybody, if he'd be like almost an even 50-50 split. Right now, it's it's Knicks time here in the city. He's a big Knicks fan. I'll support him.
Okay.
I'll give him fair boy status right now, just because we're all on the same team right now. This one I don't know if you watch, but he's in the news a lot lately. West from Summer House. Fair boy.
Okay. Boy. I do not watch Summer House. I know. Okay. Please don't murder me, but I'm not gonna. I'm not even gonna know. Is he like in one of the big feuds or anything like that?
He's in one of the big scandal of Amanda. There's like the breakup. I don't even know.
I've heard of this. I've heard of it. I don't know anything about it, so I can't weigh in on poor West. Yeah. I don't know.
Anybody who's watching, weigh in. But I'm gonna take a guess that he's a fuckboy. I think that's the answer. But I don't know.
I feel like if you're on those types of reality shows, you are an F boy. Like I don't.
Well, that's who gets attention on those shows, right? Like
right.
Yeah. So you're playing into that. Paul Rudd, fair boy or fuck boy?
Fair boy. I love Paul Rudd. Right? Like heart of gold, that guy.
Yes.
Seriously.
How could you not love any movie that he's in? How could you not
slapping the bass? I love him.
Love it. My favorite comedy of all time. I love you, man. And just like every talk show appearance he does, he's just so endearing. He also doesn't age. He looks the same as he did when he was in Clueless. Like, what is that? Like,
fascinating.
So fair skin too. Like, just doesn't age. Incredible.
Teach me your skin routine, Paul, please. Yeah. First name basis, he and I.
Yeah, right. Obviously. Another one here. I don't know if he makes a lot of appearances in your house, but he does in ours. Danny Go. Fair boy or F boy?
I just started listening to Danny Go. I discovered the Wiggle song.
Yep.
And while that song fucks, I'm gonna call him a fair boy because of the music he makes is pretty awesome.
He's really great. He's a favorite in our house. He gets Cal dancing, jumping, singing along, learns a lot too. So Danny, thank you. You're a fair
Thank
boy.
you, Danny.
Thank you, Danny.
You got happy parents over here.
Yeah. Jacob Elordi, fair boy or fuck boy?
Oh, I haven't watched the most recent season of Euphoria yet.
We've watched a few episodes, yeah. So,
His character is nasty.
Yeah.
But I don't know anything about him in real life. Like, I haven't watched enough interviews to
Yeah.
weigh in on this celebrity that I don't know.
Yeah.
So, given his reputation in the show, F-boy.
Right. Like, he seems so comfortable playing that role, and that's tough to, like, pigeonhole people like that, but also, like, you do it so well. Like, there's got to be something to it. So I'm gonna follow you on that one. This one's a tough one for me. I don't know if you'll know him as much, but he has been in the news lately. Giants quarterback Jackson Dart, fair boy or fuck boy?
I don't follow football the way I should.
Yeah. He's been in the news lately because he introduced our president at a rally, and it caused a big controversy among the team, and it's been a big story in New York here. So that's why we're getting a lot of it. I'm a Giants fan as well. So also, even before this whole controversy, he's a bit of an F-boy. He went to Ole Miss. He's like a sunshine quarterback. A bit of like, he's always diving with his head and stuff. He needs to be smarter, make better decisions.
Diving with his head.
Stop being an F-boy.
Make safer tackles.
Yes.
Or he's a quarterback. He's not making tackles. Make safer plays.
Yes. Two more. Second to last, Jeff Bezos. Fair boy.
Oh, F-boy.
Yeah,
I mean, Amazon's the devil. I
Amazon's
still
the
use it,
devil.
sadly. There's times when I need it, but, like, I wish I could just fully do away with that.
We're pretty close. I'm a big advocate for never using it, but as parents, there's certain times where you need something immediately, and it sucks that you have to go to that. Sometimes we're able to do without it most of the time, but yeah, he's the worst. His most recent interview was terrible. I don't know, man. Just stop being an F-boy. You got a lot of money. It's just cool. Just hang out. Hang on your yacht.
What if you did something good with your life? Like, just
Yeah.
try it. See what happens.
Yeah, or just like leave everybody alone. Just like, I don't know what people who get rich just think. I guess that's part of it. They think they know everything. You need to tell us. Just shut up. Just like, I respect the rich people that just live their lives and don't interfere with anybody. Just enjoy your money. Just if you're gonna be rich, just enjoy it. All right, that brings me to our last one. A favorite of ours, but I don't know. We'll see what your answer is. Elmo, fair boy or
Aww. Okay, but he is getting a lot of heat right now for his tweet. Was it a tweet where he's like, I
Yeah.
hope both teams have
Right,
fun.
which is that's
And
why I
Knicks
brought it
fans
up.
are unhappy.
Yeah.
But he's a fair boy. I love Elmo.
Elmo is a fair boy. I brought him up because of the current social media controversy that he's found himself in, which, like, Elmo
Yeah.
being in a social media controversy is just too perfect. But it's been fantastic. I think I might have to add some of the tweets on here, but just seeing some New Yorkers just chime in where he's like, I hope both teams have fun. And they're like, Elmo, you are from this city. Pick a side. This is
Don't
war.
forget your roots.
Right.
These streets aren't Sesame. Like, these tweets
Right.
are awesome.
It's fantastic. I love everything about it. Elmo put together a follow up today. People still weren't happy. Like he still didn't quite pick a side. So Elmo, you found yourself in the crosshairs right now. I think you're a fair boy to me, but you need to be careful right now. I think walk the tightrope, Elmo. It's gonna be tough. Maybe some of the creepy Times Square Elmos should be on notice right now because New Yorkers are angry at you. So,
Talk about terrifying, those things.
yeah.
Whew.
So, all right, winding down here. One more fun game. I think this will be a lot of fun, too. We're going to blind rank different movie or literary survivors you'd want on a deserted island with you. So not necessarily like, these might not have to be like the best, maybe the best hang or like the person you think would do the best job at like being compatible with you. But like if you're on that deserted island, who's helping you get off that island? And
So you're going to give me ones to rank? Because I was like, my mind started thinking of like who I would pick. Okay,
Yeah,
got
yeah.
it.
So I'm gonna give you 5, and you're gonna rank them blindly 1 through 5. So I'll give you one. You can slot it anywhere 1 through 5, but keep in mind there's more coming. So
what's coming next.
There's a bit of
and
strategy.
so 1 is the one I really want, and 5 is okay.
Most would want to have. 5 is
got it.
So first choice, Richard from the first season of Survivor. Where would you rank him, and where would you want to have him?
I mean, his strength was building alliances and then being a conniving little bitch behind people's back. So I'm putting him at 5. Like, I don't think he'd actually be any help to me at all.
Yeah, right. You'd be working together. He'd make you think you'd be working together, and then all of a sudden one day you'd look up and he's like floating off on a boat, and he's just like, "Bye, see you later." And it's like,
yeah, he's in 5th place.
You're at 5th. Okay. Don't know the character name, but Tom Hanks in Castaway. Where would you rank him?
And well, he figured out how to survive for a very long time. And he's like, I know you said it's not about good hang, but like it's Tom Hanks. It's the boy next door.
Yeah.
And I don't know who's coming next, so I'm gonna put him at a safe 3.
I think that's safe. Also, like, is he bringing the volleyball? That might get annoying if Wilson's along for the ride too. I don't know. I don't know if I could deal with all that, but Tom Hanks at 3. All right. The next one I'm giving you from the movie Alive, the show Society of the Snow, the entire Uruguayan rugby team that got stranded in the Andes Mountains and ended up cannibalizing themselves, but surviving, a lot of them, a really long time in the winter up in the Andes. So the entire Uruguayan rugby team, where do you rank them?
That's kind of scary. I don't know if I want all of that.
Also, a lot of them are being cannibals too. So.
Right? Can I? Okay, 4. Like, yeah. I don't want them toward the top.
Yep. All right. I think 4 is a good choice. Yeah, that's tough. The next one, I'm gonna make it a combo here. I just had one written down, but I also think we need a little more female representation here. Jack and Kate from Lost. Where would you slide them?
1. Now they're annoying, but they're also well, and like Kate, every 5 seconds, I'm coming too. I want to go on this adventure too. Okay, Kate, relax. Like, fine. But a doctor, right? Like, you need that. And Kate is a really good tracker. And she could navigate the island. She could help us find what we need. So yes, I would put them at 1.
Yep. Okay. I like that. And that brings us to our last one. Your last choice.
It's going to be my 2 spot. So.
It's going to be your 2, but I think you did a really good job with this. I think you might regret not putting this last choice one. The last one I had was, because of their song, I'm a Survivor, Destiny's Child.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like, that's awesome. But would they have... Well, I guess, Queen Bee would survive on the island. I would have no doubt. Yes. Well, also, think about it. If Beyonce crashes somewhere, you better believe they are finding her instantly. Like, that is not a woman that you allow to go missing. So I kind of do wish I had them at number 1 for that reason. But they're my 2 spot.
Yeah, we can't allow Queen Bee to go. If she's a national treasure, we can't allow her to go unfound.
Yeah.
All right, last category here. Ask a boy mom. Couple quick questions for you as a boy mom reading Lord of the Flies as these savage boys fall into chaos. How do you think you can keep your boy from becoming a savage?
I love how we think we have any control over that whatsoever, right? Like, we don't.
Yeah, I mean, yes. Go on.
I think that the big question I had while I was reading this book is thinking to myself, what values do I want to instill in my child? Like, which one of these characters would I want him to be? Obviously, we know we don't want him to be Jack. We've established that. Right. But I'm like, is he the Simon? Do I want him to be the Piggy, the Ralph? Like, what aspects of each am I hoping to pass on to him? So, like, those are the kind of questions that stuck with me a little bit as I was reading it.
Yep.
And my light fell again.
It was good. I think we're almost there. I think it's going to make it to the finish line.
All right, Light, you can do it.
All right. Second question. What's the most annoying thing a dad can do for a boy mom?
ask me where something is that you know where it is.
Yep. We don't.
I think, I mean, a lot of people are talking about the invisible load, and it's real. And like, credit where credit's due. My husband is phenomenal at these things.
Yep.
But anytime a husband asks a wife, "What can I take off your plate and off your list?"
Yeah.
Like, that question in itself is so aggravating, because it's like, you should know what things are on the plate and on the list, and just proactively, oh, Otter.
Yeah, I was like, somebody's
buddy.
back there.
The beast is popping up.
He's not
My
so
sweet pup.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want me to do that again, because I just interrupted it with Otter.
No, that was great. It was natural. No, and I agree with you. If you want to steal it, Aisley's line to me is always, if I ask for something, it's use your good eyes. Really try and find it. Use your good eyes. You'll find it eventually. Just try. So,
yeah.
And my last one, what's the most recent thing your son has broken in the house?
Trying to think.
I can say for us, I mean, it's always something. It's always it's a combo for us of like, Cal likes to throw things to Zeus. So literally just before we got on here, I think they're okay, but like a pair of sunglasses we had, like Cal grabbed them off the table, threw them to Zeus, who then started chewing on them. So they're like a tag team. Hopefully I'll do a better job, but like, yeah, they're like a tag team of just destruction, where it's like, hey, Zeus, take this, and you break it. Or like, I'll try and grab it back from you, and then it'll break. So that's always happening in our house.
I can't remember the last thing he broke, but I do know that he's at that stage of being a toddler where he's running around like crazy. And like, I'm starting to make him dinner, and he comes over, he starts playing with the oven, he's like turning on the gas. I'm like, nope. And like, you go back to do two things, and then he's over here and he's pulling the blind and the curtain off the wall, and I'm like, nope. And I'm like, I haven't been able to do something for more than 10 seconds at a time without having to remove him from like climbing a piece of furniture and trying to dive bomb yeet himself off of it. So it's not necessarily that he's breaking things, but I'm afraid he's gonna break himself. So just like, I start to understand why people put leashes on kids. I probably never will, but I get it. I get it.
I get it as well. My brother, I mean, my mom also, like, we had twin boys, 5 years younger than me, twins, and my one brother was a legit savage. Yeah, he was nuts. She tried the leash once for like a day. She was like, I'm gonna try it. That was the only time. But like, I totally get it. No, he was a kid who was like Cal and Zach's age, and was like climbing. You'd find him on like the top of the bookshelf. Like, he would just like climb everything and like put himself in danger all the time. So I also get it. So
I know the last thing that Zach broke. He does this. I think I've reordered sippy cups every 2 or 3 months, because he's like, I'm done, and he's like sitting in his high chair, he throws it. Not only does the lid pop off, but it cracks in the bottom, so you go to pick it up and the milk goes everywhere. And so he's cracked the bottom of his sippy cups. I'm going through one every 2 or 3 months. I have to buy another one to replace. I mean, we have more than one in the house, but going through them pretty quickly.
Right. We're running through them. Yeah.
Faster than you should with sippy cups.
Sure. All right. We've made it to the end of the road here. We've had a lot of fun. Broke down the book. Played some fun games. It's been an awesome time. I leave with one last question. What lesson from this book will stay with you the longest? I think it's one a lot of us have read a couple times throughout our lives, if you've read along with us this time. But now, especially as an adult, what'll stick with you the longest from reading this? Lord of the Flies, once again.
I mean, I think it's something we touched on already, but a group of people left unchecked, it is not going to end well. And so even if you find yourself in an uncivilized place, remembering what makes us a society and what makes us human is, what's going to keep us civilized and a society and human.
Yeah, I know. And I'll try and strike a more hopeful chord with the finish here, but I think we're not great at this, I don't think, as a society or always as a people, but let's learn from the past. Let's learn from our mistakes. Let's learn from this. I think this book, we talked about why it's taught at a young age. It's a warning. It's a lesson of how to, I think one is, as we're dealing with right now with our son, how to manage your emotions, how to create good and create community and not give in to our most basic instincts at times, as appealing as that may be. So let Lord of the Flies be a lesson to us all. Let's try to come together, not outcast anybody, not want to taste the blood of pigs and never be able to shake that feeling ever again, and just take care of each other. So with that, Kat, I appreciate you reading Lord of the Flies, breaking it all down. This was a lot of fun. Thanks for joining, and happy reading, everybody. Thank you, Demons, for listening along. So that's it for May. Thanks a lot, Kat.